recommend that you have some props with you. 2 blocks, I like the cork ones. Blankets are a great addition as well. If you don't have any blocks handy, you can certainly use a dictionary or reuse or repurpose some of your old textbooks. We'll start class today seated in a Virasana, a hero's pose. So I like 1 block on its middle height, right between the inner ankle bones. You could also take 1 block lowest height or stack your blocks like so. Just depends how high of a throne you'd like to give yourself. So once you've got it, place the block right between the inner ankle bones. The 2 sits bones will land right on the block, just like 2 fence posts driving down into the earth. When you arrive there, lift up 1 kneecap at a time so you can stretch the skin of your shin long. And for today, place 1 hand on the sacrum, the flat plate at the base of your tailbone, 1 hand on the low belly, and just tip the pelvis slightly forward and back a few times so you can find essentially the center of the canister, the center of the pelvic bowl. And once you've got it and the spine is really in neutral, following the beautiful S shape of the spine, you can release the hands onto the thighs, face up or face down as you choose. And once you get here, I invite you to allow your gaze to descend down toward the ground. You can soften your vision so much that the edges begin to blur. And the eyes might become so heavy that the eyelids meet one another. Take a moment to notice what it might be like to have your eyes closed. Maybe the first time that you've de-visualized your experience all day today. And with the eyes closed, notice any internal sensation. You might notice a sensation in a joint space. You might notice your heart beating, the breath breathing, the articulation of the facial muscles. Soften everything. And just take a deep breath in through your nose. Sigh out the mouth. Breathe in. Sigh out. 1 more, in through the nose. Out through your mouth. Release that and let the natural rhythm of the breath take over. Imagine that a golden thread descended down from the universe through the baby soft spot of your skull, through the soft palate, through your throat, through the pericardium, through the perineum, into the block, into the earth beneath you, universe above, earth below, and you in the very center. We'll time the breath now. Keep the lips sealed. Inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, breathe in 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. Out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that go. And gently allow your eyes to reopen. We'll begin to now sync our movements with the breath. Really simple. As you breathe in, reach your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, bring the hands through the center. Brush the fingertips back behind you as you inhale. Lift the chest up and the gaze up. And as you exhale, return the spine to neutral. Couple more times. Breathe in, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands find the center. Fingertips brush as you lift the chest, lift the gaze. Maybe the hips lift up just slightly. Exhale, everything comes back down. Breathe in, reach the arms up. Exhale through the middle. Fingertips behind you, chest lifts, gaze lifts. Maybe the hips a bit higher this time. And exhale, come back down. Last one like that. Breathe in, reach the arms up. As you breathe out, bring the hands down. Inhale, lift, hips, chest, chin, gaze. Exhale, lower back down. Just reach the arms up, bring it through center, and resettle. Now quietly move your block off to the side. We'll use these throughout class, so definitely keep them handy and organize yourself into a tabletop. So a tabletop is really the structure of a 90-degree angle. That's a 90-degree angle in the shoulders, the wrists, the hips, the knees. To check your measure, you can always bring a block right in front of the thigh. And if you're too far back, the thigh won't be flush with the block. If you're too far forward, the block will eventually tip over. And you can do the same thing at the forearm, so that way you really put the weight into the knuckles of the hands instead of into the wrists. So think that you're putting more weight into the index finger knuckles. Tops of the feet are down on the mat. That's the shoelace side of the foot. And when you're ready, breathe in, arc the spine, and look out like a cow pose. And as you exhale, round everything in like a cat spine, like you were being pulled up by the mid-back. And really press into the tops of your feet. Breathe in, arc the spine, and look out. Exhale to round the spine and draw everything in. If you've got the hang of the blocks, you're welcome to ditch them off to the side. But keep going, just arcing and rounding the spine with the breath. So use the whole breath cycle for the whole movement. And notice where the articulation in the spine comes from. If it comes from the tailbone, the mid-back, maybe the head, no need to change it. Just see how you do you. And now bring the spine to neutral. I invite you to flip your wrists around. So I like to shine the creases of the wrist all the way forward toward the front edge of the mat. If this is a lot for you, you can take one wrist at a time. You can also turn your hands out to the side. So if you're coming along with me, wrist creases, shine straight forward. This is a great way to undo all of like the typing and scrolling and tech time that we find ourselves with. And from here, same thing, just arcing around the spine a few times. From here, just arcing around the spine a few times, taking it as quickly or as slowly as you like. Last one. Back to neutral. Flip the hands back so the fingertips face forward. If that was a lot in the wrist, just really ground the palms into the mat. Don't shake it out. You'll undo everything that we just did. Real easy transition now. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips high and up. Find downward facing dog. Your version of a dog pose. Any movements that you want to take. You can bend one knee and then the other one. Send a heel down toward the mat. Wag your hips left and right. Decide what kind of dog you want to be today. Some days we're a corgi, some days we're a golden retriever. You know, you choose. The golden doodle. Such a regal dog. Okay, and now we'll measure our dog pose. So just like a table was the archetype of a 90-degree angle, a dog pose is a 60-degree angle, an equilateral triangle, strength, structure, and stability. To check your measure, you can just lift your left hand and bring it back to brush your left ankle. Same thing with the right. And if the feet are too far, you'll walk them in. If the feet are too close, you'll walk them out. The feet are hip width distance. The hands are shoulder width distance. For today, bend your knees a healthy amount so that way your heels are slightly lifted off the mat, and send your tailbone really high up toward like the crease of where the wall meets the ceiling. And imagine that you're being lifted up higher, higher, higher by your tailbone. Your ears stay in line with your upper arm bones. You can measure it out forward to a plank pose so your shoulders stack over your wrists, heels up really high, gaze is down but slightly ahead of the fingertips. So the measure or the placement of the hands and the feet is the same for a plank pose as it is in a dog pose. So you can just take it back to your downward facing. The next time you breathe in, inhale and lift your right leg. Bend your right knee and hang the heel toward your bum as though you could butterfly the inner knees away from one another. And notice what's happening in the shoulders. See if you can pour more weight into the right hand and inflate the left armpit. And then breathe in and extend your right leg long. Draw the hips square again so that the toes point straight down. Draw the knee in toward your nose. Look where you're going and place the right foot right in between the center of the hands. Once you get here, if the foot didn't lunge all the way forward, you can certainly grab onto the ankle and move it there. But once you arrive there, tap your left knee down, point your left toes, and the knee stacks right above the ankle. The knee also fits into the armpit, so the thigh is the same length as the torso. You can again play with the block if you see what I'm up to here, but you can play with the block and place it right behind the right calf and check your measure that way. Once you've got it, the top of the left foot is down, so that way you can find the center of the left knee. Chest stays resting on the thigh, knee fits the armpit. Just reach your arms all the way forward, keeping the chest on the thigh, and unfurl all the way up to an Anjaneyasana or a crescent lunge. Find the whole arc line of potential, pubis, navel, sternum, tip of your nose, and the gaze, tracing a beautiful arc. Stay for one more breath in. And as you breathe out, place your hands down to frame the front foot. Now inhale, shift your hips back in space. Drive the right heel down into the mat as you flex the right toes. You might need to adjust your right foot slightly. And once you're there, just wag your tail a bit left and right. Up to you if you want to have your hands on blocks. Sometimes it's really nice to bring the floor to you. Your option. You can keep the spine extended and look out, or you can begin to let your nose draw toward your knee by allowing your head to just weigh heavy. From here, rebend your right knee, stamp the right foot down on the mat, tuck your back toes, pick up your back knee, inhale, sweep the right arm up, easy twisting lunge. Palm faces the front. Exhale, the right hand just comes back down. Now look forward, tent up onto your fingertips, and step the left foot forward to meet the right one for a fold. Hands on the shins, inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold back down over your legs. And then breathe in, rise all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, sweep the arms up and look up at your palms. Exhale, bring the hands to center. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold back down over your legs. Breathe in, step the left foot back. Breathe out, right foot takes you to a dog pose. Forward to plank as you inhale, and then slowly lower all the way down onto your belly. Once you arrive there, the hands land right outside of the rib cage, the elbows point back in space, and energetically imagine that you could drag your hands back on the mat, press into the tops of the feet. So the legs are really energized, and you can have your feet essentially together, like you've got a mermaid tail, and drag the wrists back in space as you keep pressing into the tops of the feet. You might find a baby cobra here and just look out. Stay for the breath in. Exhale on the breath out. Pass through a child's pose and make your way back to downward facing. We'll take the other side. From your down dog, breathe in, lift your left leg. Bend your left knee and hang your heel toward your bum, stacking the left knee open, imagining that you could butterfly the inner knees away from one another. Pour more weight into the left hand as you inflate the right armpit to level the shoulders. And then breathe in, extend your left leg long, hips are square again. Look where you're going, draw the left knee in toward your nose, and lunge your left foot forward between your hands. Left foot lands in the same line as the hands. If it doesn't make it there, bring it there. And when you arrive, tap the right knee down, point the right toes, knee stacks on top of the heel, and the knee also is in line with the second toe, so it's not winging out to one side or the other. Once you arrive, top of the back foot is down, so you find the center of the back knee. Chest stays resting on the thigh. Reach the arms forward, 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 so far forward that you go up. Anjaneyasana. Find the arc line of potential, pubis, navel, sternum, tip of your nose, gaze, crown of the head. In your imagination, think that the crown of the head reconnects to the arc of the foot. So you create a sphere. Take one more breath in, and as you breathe out, bring the hands down. Inhale, shift the hips back in space. Flex the left toes up toward the ceiling. You can adjust the left leg as you need. You choose if you want your hands on blocks, maybe fingertips, extending the spine, or letting the head go. Maybe you wag the tail a bit to the left and to the right. So you've got a couple moments here to explore. And no shape is really static. There's so much movement and so much aliveness happening on the inside, even if it can't be seen. For me, the easiest way to tap into that is to connect hearing to breathing. The next time you breathe in, stamp your left foot back down, rebend your left knee, tuck your back toes, pick up your back knee, breathe in, sweep the left arm up, easy twisting lunge, look toward the ceiling. Left hand comes back down. Step the right foot forward to meet the left one. Lift halfway. Exhale, fold down over your legs. Breathe in, rise all the way up, reach your arms up and look up. Exhale, bring the hands to center. Inhale, reach the arms up again. Exhale, fold it down. Good. Inhale, step the right foot back. Exhale, the left foot back to a dog pose. Forward to plank as you breathe in. This time, touch the knees down, point your toes, and just slink yourself down. Belly, chest, and chin. Place your hands by your rib cage. Inhale, baby cobra, everything that we did before. And as you exhale, take it back to a child's pose. We'll meet back in downward facing dog. From your down dog, 1 foot at a time, take teeny tiny little walks all the way forward until your feet meet your hands. And once you get there, we'll arrive in a forward fold at the top of the mat. Take your 2 fists together like you could punch the mat. So the thumb knuckles meet each other. The pinky knuckles will meet the inner arch of the foot. So the middle toes are parallel to one another, pointing toward the front of the mat. You punch the mat with your fist to find the measure of hip width distance and bend your knees. So that way you find the chest resting on the thighs again. And with the bend of the knees and the chest making contact, you might send your buttock bones up toward the ceiling one at a time. You can do anything that you want with your hands here. And if it's challenging to find a deeper fold, really think about the crease of the hip. It's like the first origami fold. One of my teachers says that yoga is origami for bodies and origami is just yoga for paper. You can let your head go. The arms can just dangle, keep the bend in the knees. Maybe you hold on to opposite elbow. You can sway the weight slightly right to left, forward and back from heel to ball of foot. So that way, again, no pose is static. If you were doing something with the arms, gently release them and round up bone by bone. The tailbone, soft bend in the knees, navel draws in toward the spine, really rounded. Head is super heavy, And once you arrive, the shoulder blades can roll up by your ears. And you allow the palms to just face forward as you float the blades down your back. Take your gaze forward. Take a moment in stillness. You can close the eyes if you'd like. And tap in once again to all of the internal sensations. Really nice option to again bring one hand on the sacrum, one hand on the low belly, and just re-level or re-neutralize the canister of the pelvic bowl. If your bottom ribs are poking up, just bring them in line. Palms face forward again. Grab one of your blocks. And again, if you don't have blocks with you, you can use your fingertips, but place the block on its highest height right underneath your nose. From here, your right hand lands on the block, left hand lands on the sacrum. Again, keep the knees bent a good amount so that way you can find the lower back and the sacrum area really level, like somebody could rest a teacup on your sacrum. Press your hand into the block and spin your chest open to the left. Left shoulder stacks on top of the right one. And then from here, extend your left arm up toward the ceiling, palm faces forward, swim the left arm over your ear, following the hand with your vision. The left hand replaces the right one, right hand lands on the sacrum, press left hand into block, spin the chest open toward the right, So the right shoulder stacks. You might notice one knee bends and one knee straightens. That's okay. Extend the right arm up, palm faces forward. Follow the hand with your gaze as you swim it all the way forward and down. Right hand finds the block, 2 more on each side. Twist, extend, swim. Left hand replaces right. Other side, twist, extend, swim. Right hand replaces left. Last side, twist it. Look at your hand, follow it with your vision. Left hand down, last one. Extend the right arm up, swim it over your ear. Right hand finds the block, move the block off to the side, and we'll meet back in downward facing. Any way that you choose to get there is totally fine. From your down dog now, breathe in, lift your right leg high. Look where you're going, step your right foot forward and through between your hands. Chest is still resting on the thigh. You can pulse it forward and back a few times. And then once you're well supported and you find the structure of the legs, reach your arms out forward and unfurl all the way up to high lunge. Take a moment to re-find your legs. Maybe deepen the bend of the right knee. You can come up higher onto the ball of the back foot, so that way your weight's not dragging back in your heel. Take one more breath in. And as you breathe out, Warrior 2, open everything to the side. The center of the front heel is in line with the center arch of the back foot. The outer edge of the foot stitches down. You can place the hands, one on sacrum, one on low belly, to reorganize the canister of the torso. Extend your arms out. Gaze over the right middle finger. Inhale, flip the right palm up. Reverse your warrior. Exhale, both hands down. Frame the front foot. Now from here, get light on the back foot and float all the way forward, standing split. So the left foot lifts way up, foot goes up, head goes down, left toes point straight down toward the mat. Just begin to flamingo the left knee in toward the right one. The left foot meets the right one as you bend the knees, sit your bum back, sweep the arms up, chair pose. And as you exhale, just fold back down over your legs. Lift up halfway, and step, float, or hop back to a down dog. Come forward to plank on the breath in, lower halfway, upward facing dog, downward facing. Second side, breathe in, extend your left leg high. Look where you're going, bend the left knee, step it all the way forward and through between your hands. Find your lunge, pulse it forward and back, chest stays rested on the thigh, knee fits the armpit, knee on top of heel, everything that we did at the beginning of class. And then once you've got it and the legs are really stable, supporting you, and you find the structure of the lower body, reach the arms forward. Unfurl all the way up, high lunge. Resettle the legs as you need, high up on the back foot, so that way the heel's not dragging your weight back behind you. As you exhale, Warrior 2. Center of the front heel is in line with the center arch of the back foot. Gaze over the left middle fingers. Again, find the canister of the torso. Low ribs are knit down as well. The next time you breathe in, reverse warrior. Tip it up and back. And as you exhale, cartwheel the hands down, frame the front foot, lift up the back heel, get light on the back foot, float all the way forward, standing splits. The right toes point straight down toward the mat. Foot is up, head is down. Begin to bend the right knee in like a little flamingo. Right foot meets the left one. Bend the knees, sweep the arms up, chair pose. Soften your gaze, exhale, fold down over your legs. Lift up halfway, step, float, or hop back to a dog pose. Forward to plank on the breath in, lower down, back bend, downward facing. Stay in your down dog, breathe for a moment. And just touch your knees down. Take a child's pose, big toes to touch, knees out wide. I like to have a block underneath the forehead. You can keep the arms extended or place them back by your heels. Catch your breath. Notice the internal sensation, perhaps in joint space, perhaps in heartbeat, perhaps in breath. Just awaken to the symphony of aliveness that's happening inside. If your arms are extended in your child's pose, bring them back toward your heels and just begin to sit your torso up. From here, we'll set up for a pigeon pose. Today we'll take pigeon with a lot of support, a lot of scaffolding. If you haven't experienced a pigeon like this before, welcome, and you may never go back. So for today, I'm going to use 2 blankets. You could use 1 blanket, you could use 3, a yoga blanket if you have it. Otherwise, use any blankets or towels that you have around your house. And if you've got a blanket that's folded, like so, turn it into a shelf. So you've got like a thin rectangle, and I'll just set the blankets up so that way they're about halfway or a third of the way from the front edge of the mat. And this is just going to create a support. So there's really no virtue in squishing yourself. We very much believe here in giving yourself a throne. So we're setting up our throne here. If you've got blocks, we'll use those as well. Once you've got your blanket shelf or throne set up, come back to a dog pose just so we enter in a way that's really organized. So from your dog pose, lift your right leg, and the whole right shin is going to clear the blankets. So the right knee lands in front, the right heel lands in front, and the hips settle. So that way the center of the pelvis lands on the blankets. So if you've got your blocks, great option to press your hands into the blocks and lift your chest up. Again, find the top of the back foot, the shoelace side of the foot down. Find the pinky edge of the foot so that way you find the center of the back knee, and press into the block so that way you have a moment for your bird to fly. If you don't have blocks, you can also take one hand to the arch of the foot, one hand to the knee, and use that as a way to give yourself a little bit more lift. And for today, set your blocks up so that way you've got some scaffolding or support underneath you as we begin to make our way into like a reclined pigeon. So I like the blocks on the middle height, one the long ways, which will go along the sternum, one also in its middle height, the shorter way to land underneath the forehead. And just walk your hands all the way forward, forward, forward. It's not really down, it's forward. And land on the blocks. You can have your arms out wide like a V. And just stay for a moment. And you can let the pose really do its thing here for you. Begin to bring your hands back. Lift the chest up. Move your blocks off to the side. Place your hands down. Tuck your back toes. Send the right leg all the way up. You're welcome to bend the knee again. And place your right foot down. We'll take the left side. So lift the left leg. Same thing here. The whole left shin from the knee to the calf to the ankle clears the blankets so that way the hips have a place to rest. And the left knee is really on its own side of the mat. So if you find your knee in the center, the shape will be more difficult to access. The left knee is on its own side. We'll take a moment to let the bird fly, top of the back foot down, pinky edge of the back foot down. So you find the center of the back kneecap, press into the blocks, or hands one to inner sole, one to the sole of the foot, one to the knee. And as you maintain the structure and organization of the shape? Can you find softness in all the muscles of the face? And allow the eyes to relax, the shoulder blades to relax. Set up your scaffolding again, whatever height you had the blocks on before. And then walk your hands all the way forward, 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 forward until you land. Settle the breath here. Notice internal sensation. Anything that bubbles up to the surface, be available to greet it. You can always invite a sense of curiosity to anything that's arising. Bring the hands back. Walk them toward the outer hips, lift the chest up. Move your blocks off to the side. Place the palms down well. Tuck your back toes. Send the left leg high and up to a 3-leg dog pose. Maybe you bend the knee, hang the heel again. Left foot meets the right one. And just touch your knees down. Move your blankets out of the way. Today we'll take a camel pose. So once you've got the props cleared off of your mat, come to stand on your shins. And if you do have knee sensitivity, be aware of that and adjust however you need. So for camel pose, the shins are parallel to one another. I like to take a block between the inner ankles, just like we did when we started class. So that way the feet are well organized and we're maintaining all of the angles that we talked about so the feet don't go in or out. And then from here, place your hands on your low back, and you can bring the thumb so that way they essentially trace either side of the sacrum. The fingertips can point upward. Another option is to bring the hands so that way the fingertips point down as though you're sliding them into the pockets of like mom jeans, and scrub the low back down. The elbows will narrow in and just lift the chest up. Very similar to how we started class. So you're welcome to stay here if this is sufficient. If you would like to take another variation, you can tuck the toes and bring your hands to your heels. Keep finding the inner ankle bones hugging the block. It's a great reminder. You can also point your toes and have the hands find the heels here. And think that you could send the 2 frontal hip points forward. Let your head go any amount that's comfortable for you. From your camel pose, no matter which expression you have taken, to come out of it, bring one hand onto the low back at a time. Where you have support, draw the chin in toward the chest and make your way back up to stand on the shins. Lower the hips back down. Just find a meditative seat with the spine in neutral to counteract for a moment. If it feels okay for you and the eyes close, just allow that to happen. Okay, from here, move your block off to the side. We're going to use it again. We'll close class with a version or a variation of a seated forward fold, a Paschimottanasana. So if you've got a blanket, you can use it. Totally not a requirement. I like one blanket for this one. Same shelf setup that we had before. Sit your buttock bones onto the blanket on the very edge of the blanket, like you were on the precipice, and move the flesh of your bum out of the way. For today, we're going to keep the knees bent like we've been exploring, and grab one block, or you might find that you need to. The forehead will land on the block, which will live in the center of your legs. You can always take this up higher and find any height that you need. Okay, so once you've got the baseline, grab hold of the outer edges of your feet and rest your chest on your thigh. You can lengthen your spine and look out. The knees will land in the armpits, and maintaining all the contact that you've got between the chest and the thighs, you might inch your heels slightly forward. Forehead lands on the block. Maintaining all the contact between the chest and the thighs, you might inch the heels slightly more forward. And you can imagine the breath just expanding into the back body, filling up the space behind the lungs, filling up the space around the low back on either side of the sacrum. Just imagine the breath really expansive through the whole back body. If you're enjoying this shape, you're welcome to stay here to close class. Otherwise, gently make your way up. You're also welcome to take a Shavasana, lying flat on your back, with the feet splaying out, the palms splaying out. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. I'll close class in a meditative seat, and we'll be here for about a minute. If you'd like to stay longer, please do. Otherwise, begin to breathe a little bit deeper. Bring some small movements back to the body, maybe circling wrists and ankles. And we'll just meet seated. Once you've arrived, notice once again internal sensation, heartbeat, and breath. If it's meaningful to you, draw your hands together in a prayer at the center of the chest, with the thumbs lightly touching. You can lift the chest to find the thumbs, bow your chin. Elbows just weigh heavy by your side. Reside for a moment in the space of silence, gratitude, or devotion. We'll close class today with the sound of Om. And if you decide to chant with me, imagine that the vibration originates from the very, very center of you and radiates outward in every direction. Breathe in to chant.